and I receive a call that I'm invited for an interview. This is a job that I think I applied long time ago. You're interviewed, you're called to Nairobi, you don't have money. I go very early in the morning the next day at SGR in Miritini, fully booked. Then from nowhere, there's a lady. I've been looking for this lady. I don't know where I can find her. And I ask her, Mom, in case you're canceling your ticket, kindly give it to me. I have an interview tomorrow and I don't know what to do. And the one thing that she told me is, it's you that God has been speaking to me, because when I got to Mombasa, my brother never received me. That was the beginning of hell.
What's this one word they said you still remember to date?
When I was diagnosed with thyroid, Dr. Sore, we go to him, he looks at me and tells me, Uncle, do you know you can die? I was like,
Do you know you can die?
Everybody fears death. At that time, somebody died in the same ward. Wow. At 3 a.m., a lady who had woken up, showered by herself, ate food, no more.
We touch, we break, make it seem like we feel the same. We love what we hate.
Midea TV, spilling the tea, setting the trends.
Hello Midea Digital Media viewer, welcome to Midea Digital Exclusives and welcome to the first episode of our brand new show, Boss Lady Edition. This is a show that features women who have triumphed over different challenges and are making it in the industry, or they have made it. And this week we have our first guest. She is an amazing woman. I can describe her as a strong woman based on the story I read. She's somebody who has gone through various phases of bullying and has faced the negative consequences of office politics, and she triumphed over all this. And shockingly to me, this is somebody who volunteered for 4 good years without pay. Unaweza? She's a media personality and currently she is an HR of a thriving organization. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Winnie Miseda. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm blessed, I thank God.
You look good.
Yes.
Okay, I read your story. It's a combination of various challenges, struggles, and then you made through all this. So first of all, I just want you to make a brief introduction of yourself for somebody who is getting to see you for the first time.
Okay. My name is Winnie Miseda, as you have mentioned. I'm born again. I'm a believer in God. And above all, I'm a transformational and servant leader. What do I mean by that? I'm one kind of person who adores transforming the lives of people. I go down to make somebody excel. And that is how I get my strength. That is the gift that God has given me. That I be used to make somebody else great. Second part of it is that I'm a media personality. I trained as a journalist, but I transitioned from journalism into HR. Apparently, I resigned in January from my workplace, a place that I've served for 8 years. I just decided, let me take time off, complete my studies. You know, the way project research and attachment things can be bungling up. And I just told myself it is time to get off, start a new life. And also think the challenges that happen in corporate sector, the bullying, the politics, at times it's not worth your life. If you know your value, you just say, no, this has to go. I know several people told me, Winnie, don't do this. And I told them, no, it's about my health. It's about my stability. Let me just call it a day. An opportunity will come and I'll move to the next level.
And maybe just to take you back a little bit, describe the kind of background you came from, where you studied, how was schooling for you?
I'm firstborn in a family of 3. We are 3 girls. Myself, my sister, she's called Sheila. Our last one is called Beryl. raised in Muhoroni, a place called Muhoroni in Kisumu County. That's where we were born, we were raised, went to school in Moroni Success. Completed Moroni Success. When I wanted to join high school, there was no money to join high school. When I was called to a national school, there was no money. So I had to go to school in our village in Bondo.
Okay, first, which national school was this?
This was Mary Hills, but things happened because my dad didn't have a job by then. And there's a time our dad just disappeared. After losing his job, we lost track of him.
He disappeared. Where did he go?
I was going to class 4. Nobody knows. So we sat, my mom struggled, and this Moroni Success is a high cost school. We went through that until class 8. I remember there's a mama in Muhoroni, her daughter was ahead of me, and she's the one who used to help me with the uniform. Because Moroni Success, you cannot go in a tattered uniform. It is a high cost school, you must be neat. But my mom said that's where now we have to stay. My mom worked at Muhoroni Sub-District Hospital. Its family is known as Nyayo. So we guys stayed there until class 8. When I was joining Form 1, the church came in. My church, Free Pentecost in Muhoroni. We had a fundraiser. To enable me go to school, join Form 1.
Okay.
I went to Form 1 in Nyamira Girls. And Form 1 was okay. My second born sister, she was in primary. Just tumefuatana, let me use that word. We are just that close. So when I was going to Form 2, she was also joining Form 1. So Form 2, third term, I didn't go to school. I had to pave way for her to join Form 1. Because you see, Form 1, as a rule, you must finish the school fees. You have to pay everything. Unlike Form 2, you can play around. So when joining Form 2, that's when my dad came back.
From where?
A friend of ours saw him in Naivasha and contacted Mom and told Mom, I've seen Mzee in a certain place, Naivasha, like this. So Mom contacted the brothers, my uncles. Mom was sent to Naivasha, and actually she got my dad there. He was just comfortable sitting at Naivasha club, enjoying his life.
And he wasn't looking for his family?
No, he was just okay.
Not sick?
He wasn't sick, he was very much okay. I think it's that bit that if you have a job, men suffer ego problems. A majority, if you're in that top job and maybe you lose your job, you're like, I cannot go back home. There's that lifestyle you're used to. So I tend to believe maybe that's what happened. You are young, the things you cannot know. So when he returned, he tried doing business. I think it was not his thing in Muhoroni town. Then he located back to a country in Bondo. He went now to start doing farming. That's where he sat. He engaged now in church activities, several programs within the village.
So that time he was supporting you?
He didn't have a job now, there's nothing, it was only Mom.
With the farming, this money?
Not farming large scale, basically just a little for the village, for the home. Yeah,
okay.
That's all.
And now you have stopped going to school at Form 2?
Form 2, that time I didn't go back to school. So Mom, with her savings, Afya Sacco, because Mom being working in the Ministry of Health by then, at least they used to have money. So I go back to school in Form 3. I was a good performer. My teachers allowed me to proceed. So Form 3 I went. Again Form 3, third term, again the same happened. There was no money again now for me to proceed. Now being that kind of person, I'm selfless. I have to allow. My sister is a push. You see those come to bullies. When she says she has to do it, she has to do. So me again I had to sit back. I allowed her to continue. So me I stayed in the village with one of my aunties and my dad. Form 4, I went to Form 4 and I just proceeded. Thank God again church came in. That's why at times I normally sit and tell people, have a fellowship where you go in church. Because if it is not for the church, then I think I would have not made it. I would have not finished. So from 4 I proceeded. I did my exams. Then I stayed at home back in Muhoroni. In the quarters where we are, Mom introduced us into making chapatis, mandazi, samosas. So instead of being idle, because one thing I appreciate my mom, she never wanted her kids to be idle and to lose focus. Despite the hardship, at times we could go hungry, by the way. There's a time I remember there was no money, there was nothing. And we used to farm sweet potatoes. We could sell them within the town center. So one time Mom said, hey, we guys don't have anything. Let me go ask a neighbor for food for our last born sister. And she was given. She tried as much as possible to ensure that all of us had the meal. So after Form 4, started making chapatis, samosas, mandazi, and we could hawk within the town. There are friends that we had who had shops, so we go sell them. Then in the quarters, the staff, when they're having their meetings, every day it was written we have to make like 20 chapatis, 20 samosas on a daily basis. If they have meetings with their leaders from other regions, we'll be informed prior and we'll do the same. So that's how I started saving. My mom introduced me to Post Bank by then. So I could get off the profits, take them to Post Bank. The others I continue carrying the business. That is how I saved and joined Mombasa Polytechnic.
So first of all, how much were you making per day with this sale, and how much was the profit?
Whatever was written, like now you see I'm making 20 chapatis, 20 samosas for the doctors and nurses and other members of staff. That was around, because everything was 10-10, Bob. I could make around 500 from the staff, my mom's colleagues. Then within the estate, those would buy around 900 or 1,000, between 9 and 1,000, Bob. So I had to ensure at least 300 every day goes to Post Bank. Then the others, I buy the commodity. So my mom said she wanted me to be a teacher. And my dad the same, either teacher or a nurse, because everybody around our family and their family, either teacher or a nurse. Things to do with medicine, I told them that is not my area. I told them I want to do journalism. My mom said no. I told her journalism was my first choice, or catering. I remember I didn't get a chance at Maseno University. Then also KMC. By then KMC was picking around 2 or 3 people within a region. I also missed out that for KMC.
Was it because of your cut-off points? Or?
For KMC, I can't tell, because you see, by then they were doing the Nyanza region. It's huge. And Kenya, being the Kenya that we know, if you didn't have connections, maybe you miss it. But I think for Masen it was the cut-off. And then the choice that I had put, because me I had put journalism in IT, and I think apparently it was something different. So I stayed at home for 2 years. Again at 2 years, I paved my sister, she joined college before me on the second year. She was going to do sales and marketing at Kenya Polytechnic. So one day I decided, let me just apply. I saw an advert in the Nation for journalism and mass communication at Mombasa Polytechnic. I applied without my mom's knowledge. I waited for response. Close to 4 months, there's nothing. I was like, ama ilikuja, then kina mamangu wamerarua, you know those things, because it was coming to the PO box poster for the hospital. Then one evening, I'm just called by my mom's colleague, hey, I have a letter for you. Where from Intech, Mombasa Polytechnic. I was happy. I showed it to my mom. The first thing she told me, now, how will you go? We don't have that money from Mombasa Polytechnic. I told her, I know God will provide. The money that I've been saving, we can use to do something else, then we proceed. So she told me, okay, fine. I think the next day she went and sat with her colleagues and spoke. Apparently, the lab technician has a brother who is a HOD at Mombasa Polytechnic. And he told my mom, I'll speak to my brother. He'll see how he can help Winnie join, even if you're paying school fees bit by bit, then that's it. Then my dad said, no, you have a stepbrother in Mombasa. He should be hosting you. Why should we struggle? He was called. He said, fine, let Winnie come.
So that's the brother he got while he was away.
No, those are my stepbrothers. They are elder than us.
Okay.
Yes. So my dad said, hi, I've spoken to Young. You will go. Then I told Mom, the money that I've been saving is what I'll use to buy my items, school books, and what have you. I withdrew the money. We bought stuff for the college. When I got to Mombasa, my brother never received me. That was the beginning of hell in my life. You arrive in the morning, you wait at the bus station, there's no one to pick you. In those days, there were no mobile phones. So I waited. The only thing that I knew is that I have an aunt, and my stepbrother was living close to my aunt's place. It used to be called Kwachif. And I knew where my brother worked. So I decided I'll have to look for these vehicles that goes to Mtwapa. I boarded a mat. I just got a good Samaritan. She helped me. I boarded a mat to Mtwapa. When I got there, I started asking Kwachif. When I got to the chief's place, I mentioned my brother's name. Apparently he's known. And somebody took me to them. He was just there seated with his wife. I got in. You see, there's a way somebody, the reception,
Yes.
you can tell something is not right. But me, I just came in and I sat. And they gave me tea and I was okay. So the next day, I asked him to take me to Mombasa Polytechnic. He said he was going to work. He couldn't take me. But he just told me, get this matatu, you drop at Buxton, ask for Mombasa Polytechnic. That's how I made it to the school. I registered by myself. I got my mom's colleague's brother who assisted me. I joined Mombasa Polytechnic with 1,500, just the registration bit. The rest now my mom was paying in bits. That's how I began my journalism classes. Until one time I finished the first semester. Now come end of first semester, we're supposed to go for attachment. I talked to my brother, he says he didn't know anyone. I started looking for places, there were none. So what I did, I decided let me come back home to Muhoroni. I can be going to the courts to do court reporting. So I used to go to courts in Menara and Tamu. I see how people work, and I met some colleagues as well. They will show me how they are done. So when I do my stories, I just pile them. When I came back, apparently my in-law told my mom I'm a liability to them, the expense, I'm an extra expense. So I needed to get somewhere to stay. My mom spoke to my dad's cousin who lives in Mombasa. She was okay. I went to stay with them. I went to my brother's place, took my stuff, and left.
So all this time you were in Mombasa Polytechnic before sourcing for attachment.
Yes.
You were going to school,
Yes.
getting back to your brother's house.
Yes, I was a day scholar.
And how was the wife to you? How was she treating you?
Story for another day.
No, just say it today.
It wasn't a pleasant stay. Being somebody where we are raised up, the three of us, we've seen how our mom takes care of people. She can go out of our way. Then we love doing things as a family. At times I could come out of school. When I go back, people have eaten. There's no food for you. Then you're told, take these 10 shillings, go buy vegetables and eat. I was like, God, how do I start? I would sleep hungry. Because my brother has gone to work already. He used to work at Voyager. So I could sleep. When I sleep in the morning, I'll wake up when he's already back because he works in shift from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. So he comes, I'll take breakfast with them. Then I go to school because I used to get to class at midday.
You take the same breakfast as
Yes,
them?
yes. Okay. But You take breakfast. You see, the people have undertones. They speak words you tend to ignore, but when you go out, there's a way it hurts you. So I stayed. Now, after leaving their place,
Okay, what's this one word they said you still remember to date?
hatuwezi lisha vinyangarika, so those are painful words.
Sorry. Okay, you left their place.
Went to my aunt's place now. First, it was okay. Then towards the end, now things changed. When now I got internship at KNA and KBC. You see, when you are an intern, you have to go by the rules of the organization. So at times you're assigned duty in the evening. I have to inform my aunt. That is one thing that we were brought up to do. You cannot go to a place without informing your elder. But the words she could use were not pleasant. Yeah, she could say, umenda umalaya, those dirty words. And yet, I know myself, brought up in a church setup. I'm somebody who goes to church. Hizo mambo za wanaume and everything was not in my vocabulary. So at my aunt's place again, now things started becoming toxic. In the morning, before you leave the house, you have to cry. Before you sleep at night, you have to cry. They're just words that are thrown. When food is made, is prepared, for instance, chicken is prepared, it will be served. But you are not given. You are left for with vegetables. But I was okay. Because to me, food, in our place, food was, yeah, not even rare. We didn't bother. It could be there, but nobody even eats. Yeah. So I used to cry, and I used to tell my mom, but she was like, I'm putting words on my auntie's mouth. I'm like, no, mom, I'm telling you what is happening. This is real. So we stayed. I stayed until at some point now we started having issues with my aunt. One day she brings a man to the house and says she wants to introduce me. This is the man who's supposed to marry me. And I'm like, why? That you come from a poor background. If this man marries you, he works in the Israeli embassy, he will improve the lives of your family. And I told her, no, that can't happen. Even if I'm to get married, I have to get married to somebody that I know. And the way I've been brought up, even if I tell my pastor, this will not happen. So we started having issues with her. At times you could wake up, you get the bathroom is locked.
You can't shower.
You can't shower. Now my cousin, she was good. What she used to do, before she goes to school, she'll tell me, Winnie, ingia uoge, ndo mimi nioge. And I could shower quickly, then I go back. Wait, I'll dress up and leave. One thing I vowed, I said my career cannot die. I used to go, and I thank God gave me somebody at KNA that walked through with me. She's called Fatma Jumea. She's been information officer. So she's retired. I could go to her and express what I'm going through, and she tells me that's how people are. You just hold on until you finish. But now it became, every day it was worsening. Every day it was worsening. Then one day my aunt starts telling me, that is not your dad. You need to ask your mom where your dad is. Then I was like, you began by introducing me to a man you want me to get married. I declined. You went and told my mom that I'm drinking alcohol, something that I never do. I don't even know how clubs are. Now you're coming to tell me it's about my dad. I realized she tried making my mom and I at loggerheads. It did not work. Now she turned to me. So when I told my mom, no, it's high time I leave. My mom said, let me speak to your aunties, then I'll get back to you. So one of my auntie told my mom, the best thing, get that kid out of that place. Get her place to stay, and she'll be good to go. And that's actually what happened. My colleagues, I normally tell people, live well with people. The people that I found at KNN, KBC, they helped me out. They looked for a house for me. They assisted me in paying rent for the first month. They bought me Meko to start with, the 6 kg cylinder. I was given sufurias and basins. The only thing I remember that I bought when my mom sent me money was the mattress. These people helped me out a lot. And that's how I began staying alone. I moved to Likoni. When I was there, my aunt was still on my case, telling me how I will not succeed, it's tough, and she never meant for me to move out. She wanted the money that I get, I sent to her, we lived together.
So this time you were still in school?
I was still in school. I had just completed, now I'm doing my internship at Kenya. So that's where I stayed. I tried looking for a job after internship, there was none. KBC the same. KBC we had a contract for about 6 months. Again, you're not paid. Instead, you're the one paying for that internship, nothing came through. So I told myself, I cannot just stay idle. Let me volunteer. And that's how I stayed at Kenya volunteering over 4 years, just volunteering, because things were not coming up.
4 years?
Yes.
How were you surviving?
Now, that is another story. The skills that I learned, and being a people person, I learned how to do scripting and doing documentaries. When we could go to press conferences or events, I would always talk to an organizer and tell them, hey, can I do a documentary for you? This is what I've been doing. And someone tells you, kindly try this out. And that's how now I used to earn a living. Your skills, and I normally tell people, do not limit your skills. If you're in a place, you're volunteering or you're just helping out, always learn something new. That's how I learned to do documentaries. That's how I learned and also registered a company that I could do. I always boast even today. I had my colleagues, Mwangi Ayub and Odongo Andago. They were my lecturers and also trainers to KBC. So we partnered with them and they used to teach me how to do these things. The charter in Mombasa County, I'm always proud up to date. It's Wandago, Mwangi and I that came up with that. We translated the Swahili version and the English version. Yes.
So which company is this you established?
Sensible Solutions.
It's still running up to date?
Apparently not, but I still work and do things with it. Mombasa County owes me about 1.5 million. It has never been paid. So I got disoriented. I got discouraged. Yeah.
And do you see them paying that money?
I'm always told under the pending bills. I've followed up. We wait for the day the government will pay. Yeah.
Okay, you worked for 4 years for
Yes.
KNA without pay.
Yes.
What message would you tell companies that are taking advantage of? Because I think it should be 6 months, they confirm you, or you know.
I'd say it's not taking advantage because it was my own idea. I never wanted to stay idle. Things were not coming. There was no employment. There was no room for employment. You try sending your papers, it didn't go through. So instead of just staying at home, you volunteer and learn new skills every day. That's how now I learned doing even print, even electronic, because I used to focus on different things and it made me an all-rounder. I can do business news, I can do politics, I can do security bits, as in health, everything, science, I can do everything. That is now something that has helped me. I know where to fall. And it also made me understand how the corporate world works. Until at a point where my bosses could elevate me and allow me to train trainees. Those who are now coming in.
You are training them without any pay?
No pay. I will walk through with them.
Okay, through these 4 years, does
Yes.
it mean KNA did not see something in you that warranted any, even 500 sheets?
By then, I think that's the time there was an embargo by the government on employment. There was a freeze. People were not employed for a very long time until I think recently, that's when people started to get employed. The first employment after almost 10 years when people were not employed in government. The first people employed when I had left, that was around 2009. I'm at 208. Between 208 and 29, that was the first bike that were employed now by the government. Yes.
So how did you move out from KNA to...
Now, I think that was around 207. I got another job again now. KBC now called me in as a freelance marketer and also journalism. So by then, I think I had started becoming ill unknowingly. I used to have some headaches without me knowing. But I stayed through. I finished 1 year, completed 1 year. I went to Baraka FM. Now Baraka is where I got discouraged. Baraka never paid.
But you are not being paid at KNA.
No, but you see now Baraka, I have a contract, an employee. But again now you're not paid. So I got pissed off and left.
Okay, you signed a contract.
Yes.
When you were signing the contract,
Yes.
salary indicated?
So very much indicated, 30,000 by then. Yes.
And what happened?
So apparently that's the time people were not being paid.
Then?
It was media. I think there's a problem in the media. How do I put it? There's a way media just tries to oppress its people. Yes. We are never paid at Baraka FM. You can even ask Akinabili, those that you are there with. It's now you to stay and now get, you see, you make use of your skills. Open your antennas and do something. It's like a platform that just gives you that stage, exactly, that stage to move to the next level. Because again, you imagine going out and sitting idle. There's a way it kills your career. You'd rather hang on there. I think that time I was just that. When I was diagnosed with thyroid.
That time you're working at Baraka FM?
Yes. So I couldn't tell that thyroid issues. I have thyroid issues by then.
What is thyroid?
Some butterflies, yeah, everybody has them. Now mine was hyper. Yes. It's either high or low. Hyper or hypo. So mine was high. That's such that any small thing triggers you. And so I remember I followed the then boss for Baraka FM and asked him, how come I'm not being paid? And he said, no, you'll be paid. Let us just take some time. Nikaona hapa nitaumia. Then we went out of the country for some training, came back, and I said, no, I'm not doing this. Again, I was called back at KBC.
What made you leave KBC?
Now it's illness. Now.
That illness.
Yes, that illness now. Because now it was worsening. So I went back to KBC. I did the bit for again close to 6 months, then now fell ill. And I told them, now I cannot do it. Let me just carry on with my health issues. Then maybe later on, things will happen. So I went, a process. It was one of the most frightening things in my life. Because hujaisikia kitu. Unajua umeniuliza what is thyroid? Sikuwaisikia what thyroid, mara glands, I've never heard about it. So I used to fall down on the road unknowingly. Sometimes you just get unconscious and you fall off. Kumbe the pressure levels have risen and you do not know. And I could grow thin. Every day you lose weight. The way you see me today, if you see me the next day, it's different.
And what causes that thyroid?
It's an hormonal, according to what they say, what I was told, it's an hormonal thing. Unaambiwa sijui chumvi iko nyingi kwa mwili. Things I cannot explain. So, until a point, one day we just sitting in the house with one of my in-laws and she tells me, Winnie, your neck is swollen. I'm like, my neck? Atia. Kuangalia kwa kioo. Kumbe, it's swollen. You know, some of us who have this kind of necks do not know. So ikasema, let me try. Then it clicked on me one day when I was rushed to hospital at night. You see, you have those frequent headaches and you think it's a migraine or fatigue. One of the doctors said, why don't you go and run a thyroid test? When did I go? I don't even know what it is. And at that time, I didn't have money. I don't have a job, you don't have money. The thyroid test by then, the cheapest was going at 4,500. Mimi nikachana nayo. I stayed at home for some time. And Makio, that time, I'm at Methodist University. I had enrolled. The way I enrolled at Methodist University is also amazing. I used to use, you see the way now you're already in the media and you have your connections, and I got bursary from Vita CDF and Likoni CDF. That's how I began my schooling. And I could send. It piles up. When it gets to a complete semester, I go to class. That's how I used to go. So,
What were you pursuing at Methodist?
Business administration. I was to continue with journalism. Methodist, they had said they're bringing in journalism, but apparently it did not come through. So they told us, hang on, itakuja. First year, nothing. Second year, mimi nikasema pana mambo ya hesabu. And that's how I dropped. I was left with, I think, 1 semester to graduation. And it wasn't my thing.
And where did you decide to start?
No, I did the common university courses, which in every campus, if you go, whatever course you're doing, the common ones are there, you must do. So I used to even ask lecturers, honestly, accounting and mass media.
So you didn't graduate?
Because I didn't complete. There's a way it wasn't getting into me.
And then maths. Maths was the problem.
No, statistics was fine. My issue here was with accounting. Managerial accounting, still financial accounting. I'm like, honestly, these things. You see the way now you're doing journalism, you're trying to imagine handling these things. They don't relate.
Yeah.
Then my lecturer told me, hey, young girl, you'll be a manager one day. You'll want to know the number of staff you're sending out on a duty, the cost that you're using to pay an office, to pay fuel, and convert it. Now this is, nikamwambia hapana, hiyo si yangu.
Utatumia akili ya kuzaliwa.
Hiyo nikasema si yangu. And that's how I just deserted. And my mom was on my case. Unafaa umalize. Nikamwambia nitamaliza tu. That's how I left it.
Okay.
So back, I left KBC, stayed at home. I now began the journey at hospital treating thyroid. One of my aunties come home, my mom's sister, comes to Mombasa. The son was graduating. We go for the graduation ceremony. She goes back home and tells my mom, yule mtoto wako, vile nimemwona yuko sawa. Go see your kid or else utaletewa sanduku home. If you tell a mother that, what does she do?
Ndio, anakuja.
Now my mom didn't tell me she's coming to Mombasa. She tells me she's sending a parcel to me. Akatola fine. Kasema mwenye anakuja ataingia kesho asubuhi. You'll meet her hapo kwa stage. Si bado naishi pale? Nikamwambia yes. When I go there, who do I meet?
Your mom.
And mimi na sira zangu. Nikamwambia go back to where you're coming from.
You tell your mom go back?
Yes. How does she come without telling me?
She's your mom.
There are things people do, my friend. Yes. Kambia, you cannot lie to me. And you are now at loggerheads. Kambia, you have to go back. How do you take me? How do you... there's that a sense of betrayal. You don't trust me. Then she said, we are going to hospital. Kambia, to do what? We have to go to hospital. Nikanyamaza. Nikamwambia, kwani unaniona aje? That's the time people in the media wakasema, huyo alikuwa anajifanya ni pastor, kumbe, the way the symptoms of thyroid zinakuja, and somebody who is HIV positive, ziko related. Yeah. Because you are darkened, you're losing hair, and you're growing thin every day. Nikamwangalia my mom, nikasema huyo anijui. Then I
Okay.
Nikanyamaza. I didn't talk to her, by the way. Now what she did, she went and called my pastor. Because I told her, go back where you're coming from. Me,
You
hatutaongeleshana.
didn't care whether she has fare or not.
I did not know. But then now she's working. She was a civil servant, so where do I come in? She went, told my pastor, they came with my pastor in the afternoon. Pastor akambia hapana usongeleshe mama hivyo. Nikambia if she cannot trust me, then who she's supposed to trust? Why couldn't she just ask me those questions? Then I gave her the results of the hospital. Akambia now I understand the tempers and nini. Akambia kesho let us go to hospital, we hear what the doctor says. We go, we are given a special clinic. And the doctor says you have to be put on drugs, on medication, because the thyroid levels ziko juu sana. They have to be stabilized. Kanyamaza. Going for the test again, drugs, it was costly. It has not been an easy journey. But again, at that point, I didn't stay with the special doctor for more than a month. I was transferred to the surgical clinic. That's when now hell broke loose. The doctor, daktari nampenda sana, Dr. Sore. We go to him, he looks at me and tells me, young girl, do you know you can die? I was like,
Do you know you can die?
yes.
How was you taking that?
My friend, everybody fears death. Then I was like, doc, I don't know what you're talking about. Akambia hiyo kitu ni mbaya. You're not feeling anything, Kambia no. No, he's the one who took me through the process and helped me understand what hyperthyroidism is. Kambia the way it deals now with the metabolism system, my hormones ndio ilikuwa ina trigger. Inafanya saa zingine nakuwa hyper, at times I don't want to talk to anybody. So ndo nikaanza ku reflect back zile. At times I could wake up in the morning, I've showered, that I'm going to work, then nasema no. Siendi. Narudi nafunga mlango, narudi kulala.
And you will not talk to your boss.
Sikwambia anything. Kumbe ni side effects za symptoms ya hyperthyroidism. He took me through, akasema we go through this, you'll go on a medication spree first. After that, now we can do the surgery. Lazima tuzitoe. Kaka, Winnie ni mwoga. I sat, nikaanza kuuliza Mungu maswali mengi. Now that was like the first test in my life, vitu zinaanza kukuja. Kasema me have been serving God. Hii surgery imetoka wapi tena? You don't have a job by then? Hauna medical, yani there's totally nothing. Ni wewe hands to mouth, zile consultants unafanya kidogo kidogo, ndio hizo pia bado zinakwama. You don't get pay. So I'm pursuing payment from Mombasa County. Other jobs unalipwa 10k, unalipwa, what is 10,000? Na payment about 250k. You know, there are things that they don't marry. So nikakaa, surgery ikawa scheduled June 2012. My mom was never informed. Because doctor said if your mom has a condition, do not inform her. So my church, my mom's sister, tukajua, my siblings will never inform them because wale ukiwaambia
simu kwa mom.
Our fichi. So he go for the surgery. Kajipeleka tu. In the morning, my pastor comes in. He was the first person to come and pray. Akambia usiogope mwanangu, just go. I walked in. Then the doctor started asking me questions. I like, what do you mean? Surgery and me having a family, how?
How do they relate?
Nakambia nauliza tu, kumbe he was trying to check on my levels, how prepared I am to trigger me. Then kidogo a man comes asking for the wife. Akambua bibi ako Maina theater. When akamuliza daktari, kuzaa ni Maina? Akaniambia, what about me? Akasema ni major. That's how I became hysterical, pressure ikapanda, things happened. Nikasema hapa naenda kukufa. Yes. Because apparently it's interfering with the nerves. I was like, God. So hapo ndo nikaekwa, I stayed, we started discussing things, personal issues, mpaka nikajipata tunacheka, kumbe they are regularizing the blood pressure ishuke. At about 9 nikaingizwa ndani. Kuingia ndani, naulizwa maswali, who do you know here? I told them I know my doctor, the surgeon, the Dr. Sore. The next thing I can't tell. Until after 5, when I think I was being transferred to the hospital, because again it also had challenges. I was being transferred to the ward. That's when I could feel myself. I saw people. So my mom was calling and calling and calling. Nobody could pick the phone, and I could not talk. So at about 9 p.m. I was told just try talking to her, because I think there's that motherly instinct.
Yeah.
Something is amiss with the daughter. Nikakaa. Nikamwongelesha kidogo, nikamwambia it's raining, let's talk tomorrow. And I slept. At that time, somebody died in the same ward. Wow. I said here, Sizika. I sent a text to mama yetu moja church and told her, mkuje mnitoe. Here people are dying.
You thought you would be next.
I'm afraid. And because she had gone to ahead of me. The lady had gone for surgery ahead of me. Nikamwambia here people are dying. Nikamwambia you won't die. And saizo, I have those 2 pipes with me. In the morning when I wake up, there was somebody lying in bed. One man was in bed too. When I get up, because you see, the way I was sleeping, if I have to turn, I have to get off bed and move around. So this person, Winnie, umeamka, unakuja hapa, kitanda hakuna mtu. Huyu ameenda theater maninini. Apparently, she got worse in the middle of the night again, and
Died.
that's the second person I'm seeing. Amefanya nini?
Amekufa.
In less than
24.
24 hours. And here you are. All of them walikuwa ward 7, amenity. Anyamaza. Now I start walking from the door. Nikienda hivi side the theater. Before even I reach the theater door, I meet a trolley. Mtu amefunikwa na sheet ya blue. I didn't even talk. I went back to the bed. No, that was on a Friday. I said I have to leave this place as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm seeing myself being the next victim. So the people that came to see me at lunchtime, I explained to them. Wakambia utakufa. Nikambia no. Ona vile mnasema, hata wale wengine waliambao watakufa, but wamekufa. Unless nitolewe that catheter. Ndio najua sitakufa. But so long as I have the catheter with me, I'll die. Friday evening at 3 a.m. A lady who had woken up, showered by herself, ate food, no more. Saturday, Sunday, nikasema hawezi nipata hapa. On Saturday, I called my auntie, she didn't
sorry
pick.
for laughing.
You know, I understand. I know. Saturday, I called my auntie in the morning. Naambia auntie, mkuje mnitoe. Kama mnitoe nitatoka peke yangu. Then I was told NHIF works half day on Saturday. Meaning if I don't do anything, I'll stay there until Monday. That one I'll be gone case. I decided I'm going to do it because the doctor came, he ascertained and said I'm okay. I told him kindly then have this catheter removed. I can instruct nurse atoe. The moment ilitolewa, nikaenda NHIF by myself. It's just within. And I told them I need to be discharged today. They asked me some questions. I I don't have anyone. I came by myself. They gave me the discharge forms, nini, take it to the nurse. Yes, the doctor gave me a discharge summary, it's with the nurse. When my auntie was coming and church people were coming at about 12:30, me had been cleared. I was waiting for them to come and pick me. Yes.
And what happened after that?
After that, we went home, conversing with the kina mom. Mom was informed after a month. Now we told them the surgery has been scheduled in a month's time on this particular date. She came with my sisters. Amekuja mbio. Prepare, let us go to church tomorrow. Church to have a special prayer over you. Then Monday we are going for the surgery. Tukaambia sawa. Tukaenda church Sunday. Anashangaa anashindwa. But she could sense something is not right now. Mtoto wake. I used to put a scarf around here. After that, watu wa church wakakuja home. Ndiye akaambia surgery si tulishafanya. Winnie is the process of healing. 1 month down the line, she broke into tears, but everything was okay. So I stayed at home. 2012, 2013, that was during the election time, right? I did a job with IBC as a support electrical elections trainer and also presiding officer. At least I got some pay, tukafanya kazi, ikakaa. 2014, still hustling, looking for a job, kuna kitu. But I used to do the consultancies too. I could go train people. I think it's in me. I love training people, talking mentorship. I could train people, you get 10,000, you get 5,000. At times I do it pro bono, just free. I could go give talks to girls' schools, wapi churches. Then 2015, I'm invited for a job at Kilifi Media Group as an editor, news editor. But before that, I used to edit online also for our group of journalists that cover tourism stories, Media 16 team. I used to do the editing, online editing. Then now when I went to Kilifian as an editor, first month it was okay again, you're being paid. In between, so the media, hakuna mshahara.
And what do you think happens in media? You're paid for the first month, second month, and then the remaining months ni oops.
Ni struggle. I can't tell. I don't know if it's lack of planning. We don't foresee. Media, things change, trends. People don't foresee, or maybe people just have their own interests. Nikasema nikae tu. But because you love something, you don't want also to be idle, because the Bible says an idle mind is the devil's workshop. You don't want to stay idle. You just want to do something. I did my level best. We used to do weekly newspapers. Ikamaliza, ikakuwa sawa. Then one day we had a training at Nyali Beach. And I received a call that I'm invited for an interview at where now used to be my former place. I'm like, interview. And this is a job that I think I applied long time ago. Nikasema sawa. A position that I don't even know what it was about. I said, fine, I'll go. You're interviewed, you're called to Nairobi. You don't have money. You're called on a Saturday. Interviews on a Monday. I'm like, what do I do? Then I tell my pastor, because we're having a development meeting, a committee meeting. Niambia daddy, nimeitwa interview. Sasa sina pesa. By then SGR was 700 bob. After the meeting, my pastor gave me 1,000 bob and said, at least this can help you. Maybe see if you can get a train, because now a bus again was expensive by then. I go very early in the morning the next day at SGR in Miritini, fully booked. Now here I am, I'm like, what do I do? My in-law, my younger sister's husband gives me another 1K. So at least I have 2,000. I'm safe. I'm like, if I don't get this train, then I'll have to go back and just get a bus. Then from nowhere, there's a lady. I've been looking for this lady. I don't know where I can find her. She fellowships at PCA Church. They had come to Mombasa for a meeting at Woget Center. So I just see her walking towards the booking unit. And I ask her, Mom, in case you're canceling your ticket, kindly give it to me. I have an interview tomorrow and I don't know what to do. And the one thing that she told me is, it's you that God has been speaking to me, because I'm supposed to be going back to Nairobi with my team, but something just came up suddenly. And I'm instructed you have to remain. You're going to give word at the PCA church in Mombasa. We go with her to the shelf. She changes her tickets and gives me. And I tell her, thank you. Now that is 10 minutes into boarding time. I start running towards the train and I get in. I meet the PCA women, we start talking. And one lady tells me, that is your job. Everything then just happened that way. That is your job. And I tell her, amen. So we converse stories. I drop, when we arrive in Nairobi, I get a bus, I drop at Bellevue. I go to my sister's place where she stays in South Sea. The next morning, she takes me to the salon. I have my hair made, and that is the time I'm going for the interview. I arrive at the interview place at exactly 9. The office is at Parklands. When I get in, I stayed until 11. That's when I was called in. Then I meet my then boss. She's called Betty Mudhoni. She's the one who interviewed me. So she started asking me questions. Then in the midst of it, a call comes her way, and I hear her saying, amen. Then I was like, God, this is you. You order the footsteps of the righteous, as you have said. She speaks. Then after that, she told me, sorry, I was speaking to my pastor. I could not miss it. Then I tell her, it's okay. She interviews me close to 1.5 hours. And then she tells me, our pay is 25K. Are you comfortable with it? And what I told her, Winnie is a brand. I know my worth. I don't refuse the 25,000. I can take it. And it's upon you to see what I'll bring on the table and what I'll do for the organization. If it matches that, well and good. If it doesn't, then you can do something. So after that, she tells me you'll be given a call after a week's time. Then I say, fine. I leave the place. I go back to my sister's place because I was traveling back to Mombasa the next day for a conference that we were having in Mombasa. So when I go back to the conference. We are in the conference. Then we have a friend, a media friend, she's called Mukamburi. She had lost her mom. And as a welfare, we were working on modalities on how to have her mom laid to rest. I remember that day when I was called that I've passed the interview, I have the job offer, and I have to report to Nairobi for training again the next day. I was like, hey, I just came in yesterday morning. Today again I have to be on the road. I said, fine. Then thank God during the meeting, we were given some per diem. That's how I secured a bus to Nairobi for that night. I went back to Nairobi, training, and that's how I began my job. I was posted in Mombasa. That's how I began my job. Now, when I got to that place, Track and Trace Limited, it was hell again. You see, it's a total shift, a 360 shift from media to logistics. Things I've never seen, I've never handled. Here you're handling clients. A totally different, how do I put it? Different sector. We are used to interviewing people. We are used to interacting with us, but here now, you're going to sell a product to a client. You're supposed to make a client happy. Yeah, client relations. You're managing a client's account, something that you do not know. Yeah, in a trucking industry, you don't know about the devices. You've never even heard about the system. Now you have to learn. This is where you ask somebody, what is this? And nakwambia mimi hata sijuangi. Na amekuwa kwa hiyo industry. Amekuwa kwa hiyo industry over 4 years.
And which position were you holding?
An account manager.
Okay.
So then I ask someone, okay, I'm going to see this client. Kindly show me where the offices are. Ati utaenda tupige tu client atakwambia ni wapi. I'm like, honestly, I learned the hard way. That first month I wanted to quit. It was bad. I remember at one point we had an exchange with one of my colleagues. Ananiambia nafaa ni charge sales. The devices, kuna vitu zinafanana kama almost kama hii. So they have to be charged for clients. You see the long vehicles, they're used for arming the vehicles, monitoring along the northern corridor through to the borders. Nikamwambia usi kazi yangu. Then akapigia boss. Nikamwambia boss, I cannot do something that is not in my JD. Yeah. Nikamwambia mnasaidiana. Nikamwambia there's a way kusaidiana iko. But somebody cannot just come and start dictating what I'm going to do. And this is not my direct supervisor. Hapo ndo akajua Winnie pia si mchache. Another one comes and start bullying me and tells me the table you're sitting on is not yours, that is not your seat. You need to get a seat. I'm like, the office does not belong to you. So I called my boss and she's like, what? Hata chai inapikwa kwa ofisi wengine ampewi.
Why?
I don't know. So nikaanza observe things that are not right. And I called my boss and I tell my boss, no, if this is supposed to be a corporate entity, there are things that needs to be changed. Hatuwezi kuwa kama jua kali, ofisi ipanguzwi, inaka. Then the kind of talks people are having in the office, I was like, this is not me. I'm not used to such kind of lifestyle and dirty talks and whatever. This is an office.
You're having dirty talks?
Very dirty talks.
Or on what topics?
Well, we are on air. So, and imagine a client walks in, somebody sits on the table, they don't even bother. You see, coming from KBC, KNA setup, there's a way you handle people. And their policies, their structures, things happen. So I sit and ask myself, kasema panda, kama nimepewa ruhusa or not, this people needs to be trained. Moja kaniambia, hapa hata ukitutrain, people can never change. Nikamwambia change is gradual. First, you have to know how to talk amongst ourselves and clients. You cannot just throw things because people are speaking. This is not a marketplace. So I start teaching people. Every Wednesdays we used to have meetings. I had to make sure those Wednesdays I teach them about communication skills, interpersonal skills, just added skills so that we can work well. And that's how I grew now from an account manager. I went to a client service assistant, acting manager, then office manager. But getting to this position was not easy. You're sabotaged, you're frustrated by colleagues. It was in a way that you won't even do reports. Nobody shares with you the reports. Unabujitafutie mwenyewe. Nobody wants to work with you now. unakuwa isolated. Some come and say, hiyo position umeshika. Wengi wamekuja wameenda, hata utaenda tu. And I remember one day telling them, wamekuja wameenda. Au ni wao lakini si mimi. I will not. I'll stay.
And the positions were being awarded based on merit.
Based on merit. Nothing more, nothing less. So one day my manager, now I transitioned to HR. Let me cut the long story short. As an office manager, I remember one day I was called for an interview at Kenya Ferry Services. And it was for customer relations. Then when I was there, the HR told me, hey madam, you've come to take over my position. I'm like, how? Akambia, the position you applied for does not suit you. You suit being an HR. I'm like, nikamuliza how? Akambia, if I look at your portfolio, even just the way you are so people oriented. Akambia, thank you for that. But I've been doing client relations and customer management. Akambia, you can be doing that, but there's something in you that resonates about HR. Then I reflected one time a vision from my pastor and my MD. My MD told me, Winnie, think about HR. It's something I've seen and you can do it. And Kambia sit down. Your pressure says that. Kambia, no, it's in you because you're a people person. One day I was just called in a board meeting. They were having discussions, and in our division I was appointed to head the HR, while the other division there's another lady who was heading. That's how I got into HR. So I was sitting and asking myself, what do I do? I wanted to go back to school.
And where did the former HR go?
In our unit, there was no HR.
Oh, there was no HR.
Actually, it was because you see, we're having two different divisions, the ECTS division and the tracking division. Now, the tracking division HR, she was actually the overall. She was handling everyone. Now we guys went separate, and they were looking for somebody to handle on this other end. Even now doing payroll, I've never done payroll. Asking for help now from the other people was another issue. I learned it the hard way by myself. You're thrown into the fire, unaambiwa jikarange mwenyewe. I learned it the hard way. When you've never handled Excel sana, what is the Excel shallow hizo tumezoea. But now this is in-depth, calculating pay, calculating all the statutory deductions. I learned it the hard way. System, yes, we used to have a system that works your payroll, but inapeana errors. So inabidi ufanye manual. I remember one day we had a meeting, payroll had not run. It was the second day of the month, and payroll used to be run by 1st of every month. My MD said, if you don't do this payroll today, just go home. Hujaifanya payroll. Umerushwa.
How did you go about that?
The finance manager that we have by then, she was very helpful. We coordinated. Akanisaidia. Thank God gave me a grace, a gift that I know all my employees by name and number, staff number. Ambata mtu aki-add nitajua Rose does not belong. So I did, akanisaidia na Excel sheet. We went through, nikajua Rose pay yake. I knew each and every person's pay. Then now tukacalculate na akaniambia go through. I went through again. It was okay. I forwarded to my MD. She approved and people were paid that night. From there, that's when I learned survival in the corporate world. It's about you. Don't expect a second person. It's you. Not everybody is happy for your move. Yes.
And how would you advise someone to handle office bullies?
Office bullies, have your limits and have barriers. If you find, because others bully you, people are wired differently. For instance, I'm an introvert. Me, you'll bully me. I'm an assertive introvert. There are things I don't buy in. I can tell you off. Others I keep. I won't respond to you. I'll go quiet. But my silence, if you're a smart person, you will know, you will tell. I will not exchange with you, but I just cut you off completely. I'll be saying hi to you. If you have a need, I can assist you, but you will notice there's something between you and I that I have changed. I just keep you off. Because the moment you allow a bully into your circle, it affects you and you will not tell before. It's something that eats into you gradually. By the time you realize, it's too late. You'll develop bitterness for no apparent reason. You'll develop hatred. Then now you start having your self-esteem issues pick up. You don't want to talk to people. You're always insecure. No, do not allow. I went through that and I went to school to now do HR. And when I got to MUA and I realized they have what I wanted, management and leadership, Management University of Africa. And I got the training that I wanted, management and leadership. I was home. I could tell a difference between that and business administration. I got in fully and I love it. So management, because something that makes you understand who a person is, dealing with that person, dealing with the corporate entity, organizational culture, the setup, superb. Yes.
And as a HR, have you ever fired anyone?
Several times.
And do HRs enjoy firing people?
You don't enjoy. It's not that you enjoy. You see, being a person, a policy implementer. This is a technocrat. This is somebody who sits and it's like an engine of the organization. Without policies, organizations are not sustainable. Now, what happens here is you work under, for instance, you have a guideline and SOP in your place. You must report to work at 8. It's non-negotiable. Somebody wants to come in at 10. No communication, no nothing. You have KPIs and you have deliverables. You must achieve these things at the end of the day. Because your pay is tagged on your KPIs. If you don't meet them, and I fail to pay you at the end of the month, what happens? You'll go sue me. Yeah? You'll take me to court. Now, for me to safeguard both the organization and the staff, we must come to an agreement. Let there be policies that must be adhered to. Failure to which an action is taken. What normally happens, most employees, they look on their end, forgetting about the organization. Organization also has mandates. It has things that must run. If you do not report to work, 2 hours gone. When I don't pay you for the 2 hours, it becomes an issue. 2 hours you've eaten into the organization on a Monday, on a Tuesday. How many hours are those? Several. You start your day at 10. For instance, you're a salesperson. At what time will you go and see clients? Somebody tells you, oh, I have a booking at 11 or something. That's why I came in late. But that is not the case. Your performance, again, depends on how you begin your day in the morning. If you come in when you're gloomy, you're tired, that day is gone. You cannot work. And policies are there for order. You cannot work in a place where it's a free marketplace. You go to, it's okay, Nairobi, Gikomba. There's no order. Everybody sells socks, shilingi kumi. What normally happens to you when you get to that place? Kelele, at times fatigue, you understand? Now imagine that is a corporate setup, an office setup. What happens? At the end of the day, will you achieve the goals of the organization? No. We'll be in a boat, huyu anaenda Syokimau, huyu anaenda Nairobi, huyu anaenda Kiambu. What will happen? The boat will capsize. We are not sowing towards the same direction. So if people normally say HR kazi yake ni kufaya na kuhaya, it's not.
And people think you enjoy firing.
Let me tell you, at times I've been affected in firing people, especially if you have the best staff. And these are people that you've taken through counseling, you've worked with them on discipline issues, then just because of the I don't care attitude, mtu anakuja nasema mimi najua my best performer. But the attitude, the culture that you're portraying in that organization can make you get fired. Because the moment unakujanga late, unajua you're a performer whether you come in today or not, then your colleague anaona Rose anakujanga hivi na ambiwi kitu, what happens to him?
Anaanza kuja late.
Not anakuja late, anaanza kuwa demotivated. That is the first thing. Demotivation. Anaanza kuwa na attitude naye pia. Before you know it, anaingia late. Before you know it, missing in action. Ukimtafuta hayuko, anakuja sasa anajisikia. So you have to put things in order. HR policies are there to guide. And you don't just fire anyone, you fire as per the Employment Act. There's a process in firing. Many a times I remember we used to go at loggerheads with my bosses. Mtu anakuja na kuambia ama na managers, atio mimi huyu amenichosha, fire this one. You cannot fire. You ask them, where the documentation? Atio hapana, nikamwambia mimi sifanyangi kazi hiyo. There is a process. There has to be a documentation. Kama ni discipline, amefanya nini? You have to initiate. Kwa email, always document it. Akuje for disciplinary hearing, take the necessary action. But again, kuna times inakuwa organizations, they want to manipulate people. If wameona wanashindwa na other things, wanaanza kuinitiate things that are not there. They start creating things that are not there to fire people. It doesn't go that way. Yes.
So it's not true HRs wako na roho ngumu.
Hatuna kama wengine tuko na roho weak. It's si ngumu, it's being firm. Yes. Yes.
Okay, what message can you send to a young Kenyan who believes that for you to land an opportunity right now in Kenya, you have to have some sort of connection?
A godfather.
Excuse me, Abu. Dogo, unasikika huko? Sorry, you pick your question.
So what message do you have for a young Kenyan who thinks that for you to land a job in Kenya right now, you have to have some sort of connection? That bila connection, hata masomo haiwezi.
That's a lie. It's okay, there are places I cannot agree to it fully. There are people, maybe organizations that you must have connections. But again, there are places that you have the papers, it's on merit. And also, we believe on supernatural being, a superior being. Zingine ni Mungu nina connect. You have no one. It's only God that connects. I've given you an example to me. The organization that I was called in for a job, I didn't even know it. When I had to check in the website and check, I'm like, when did I even ever apply? I don't even remember. I knew no one. It's on merit. And if you want to depend on people, believe you me, there's always a price to pay. Because, for instance, you connect me to a job role. Tomorrow I excel. As much as I work hard, or there's a promotion that is coming and I'm given, you'll start going around and say, kama sio mimi. You see, the credit comes to you. I cannot have my peace. It's always, if it's not for us, Winnie could have not been here. I tell people, let your merit, let your papers and your skills speak for you. Do not allow a godfather to get a job for you. You will always pay at the end of it all, whether you like it or not. There's a price to pay because, how do I put it? If you go to that job, you will not perform, you will not give your best because you know you have a covering. You'll be doing things your own way. You'll be going against the policies of that organization, because hata nikiingia late, sini uncle yangu nilipatia hii job. I don't know if you get it. Sini so and so. Then you're putting something into that organization. You're building a very toxic culture, because the rest of the team members, even if they were the best performers, if they see such kind of a trait, wanaanza ku retreat, wanaanza kurudi nyuma, waseme kama wewe unafanya hivi, wacha basi tuache wenye kampuni wafanye. Performance starts shooting down of that organization. Before you know it, and you're untouchable. I normally tell people, no, there's nothing like an untouchable. Let your papers, your skills speak for you. Do not wait to be served on the table. Work hard to get that. Yes.
And back to the office bullies, is there a way that the HR or the management can deal with these people? Because in some organizations there is favoritism.
That again boils down to the culture issue, the culture of that organization. How was it formed? I remember when I got into this organization that I left, that is something I tried fighting. And you realize as much as you try, something else comes. But I tried. In our division, it worked and it was okay. But on the other side, when I was transferred to Nairobi, it was chaotic. It was bad. You just feel the atmosphere is not friendly. Even if you had a drink like this, or even food, it becomes an issue. You dress well today, it becomes an issue. So it's all about the culture. Where is this culture coming from? From the top or from the bottom? And if you tell people, today hakuna number, there's nothing you can tell me. So there's a culture that needs to be worked on in organizations. Let people be free. If I normally tell people, whatever you do today, when you bully people or you hurt people, remember it goes round. You will have kids. You will have people that you know around you. The same measure shall be placed on them. Yes.
And away from everything else, is Winnie a family woman? Watataka kujua?
Not yet. I'm not yet married, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, send a message just to somebody who is trying to make it, is going through different challenges, and they're feeling like it's time to give up.
There's something that I love to tell people. And yesterday when I was watching my former governor, Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho, and he made me happy, because there's something that people normally tend to believe, that you failed in school, in high school, you missed this, it should dictate who you become. Do not let the struggles of life define who you want to be. You might have failed. You might have missed the chance that you wanted to have to become that professor, to become that teacher. I remember in my first interview, I once said, no matter how long it will take, I have to get my PhD. And I have to work in the public sector as a technocrat. That is a prayer that I've been making, and I continue making it. Because the private sector, you learn a lot. The private sector benefits from the public sector. And if we do not better the public sector, who will? People have a notion that if you go to the public sector, you go to make money. You go and grab. We have very special staff in public sector. They give their best, but they're never appreciated, they're not recognized because of the politics and bullying that goes around. But here comes a place where you say, no, enough is enough. Let the public sector work for the public, because we pay. We make them work. Why are they not giving us the services that we need? And I tell people every day, do not let circumstances in life define who you are. Yes, today you might be down, you don't have money to pay rent, you don't know where the next meal is going to come from. Do not go sit down to that kakuni and say, sasa mimi, kweli niliambiwa mimi ni mjinga, nimeisha, I cannot make it in life. No. There's always another day tomorrow. If it's dark today tomorrow there'll be sun in the morning. It may last for hours, but it's never the end of it. And the layer, keep on pushing. Do not tire, do not give up. Appreciate who you are today. Take up that challenge. God has gifted us in different ways, such that, yes, I might be good in books. You might be good in these works, skills. You use your hands to do things. Maybe that's the opportunity that God wants you to use to excel. Use it. Make good use of it and you excel. You'll be proud of yourself. Don't sit and start questioning yourself. The enemy at times wants people to go back and unajihurumia, such kind of. Unaka unajiuliza, sasa mimi nimesomeshwa na wazazi, I can't even buy my parent a kg of sugar. How will I go back to the village? Now you start sitting and saying, mimi sasa nitaanza kuwa na sponsor. So unaitwa sponsor, si ndio hivyo? Mababa. Yeah? Even nowadays, even women do the same. Now, you start tuning your life because of what others are doing and what your mind is telling you. That I'm defeated. I can only survive through having a man put things on the table for me or a woman sponsor me, blah, 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 such kind of things. It's what you feed your mind. It's what you take of you. Sit down, have a 360 over your life. Get to know who you are. Self-identity. Julie's a yes. When I was growing up, I wanted to become this person. What initiatives have I done to make it a success? Where did I trip? How can I get up and pursue what I wanted to do? And you realize at the end of the day, you get up. The major thing that do not let your self-esteem go low. The moment it drops, you're doomed. Yes.
Okay, and are you still battling thyroid?
No, that was the way the surgery was done. That was it. What happened to me is last year I went for a surgery. Now, working in a toxic environment again, I didn't know it could lead to me having that surgery. H. pylori. Yes. Because you see now you store in things unknowingly. You store in things unknowingly. You're like, you're okay, but deep down, it's eating up into you. Until the day I was told I'm going for a surgery, I was like, comes the daktari, how? Akaambia, yes. It's chronic. Imekutoboa tumbo, we have to do something. Yes.
So you are dealing with the H. pylori right now?
No, okay, the surgery was done, but now I'm still in that healing process. As much as I'm okay, but I don't need to have anything that triggers it. The moment I trigger it again, it's another issue.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm good to go.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate. I believe they have learned something from you. She says, know your worth, keep the vision alive, and involve God. That was our first episode of Boss Lady Edition. See you next time, same day. Bye.
Midea TV, spilling the tea, setting the trends.